Playing Chimps for the first time can be quite the experience for new players. Having a ton of tools that you've relied on like monkey knowledge, insta-monkeys and continue stripped away from you might make you think that this is impossible. But don't you worry, because today we're here to help you with your monkey madness and we're going to help you beat Chimps mode. Let's get started with the setup, aka step number 1. Pick the right tools for the job. So before you even enter a map, you need to be considering what you want to be doing on said map. That's right, we're going to have to plan a little bit ahead. Don't worry though, it's not as tough as you may think. It really comes down to what hero you want to be using for any strategy. Some general examples may include, you need a basic early game hero, so you pick Quincy or Sauda. Your map has a lot of obstacles, so you may pick Oben or Adora to help shoot through them. The map doesn't offer a lot of terrain, so you need a long range hero like Sai or Etienne. Or you're going for a strategy that relies on heroes that buff up towers, so you pick Pat, Fusty or Gwen to offer more damage. Sometimes it's about picking the right hero for the map. If you're trying to clear any beginner map, you cannot go wrong with Sauda. So if you're struggling to pick something out, try her out and it'll work a charm. Don't have the monkey money for Sauda? That's okay. Quincy will do just fine, but will be a little bit weaker in the early game. We're going to pick Quincy for simplicity's sake, so that everyone can follow along here. With their hero selected, let's dive into Monkey Meadow and get stuck into things. Step number 2, the start. Monkey Meadow is the perfect spot to showcase a wide variety of strategies. But how are you supposed to know what to start with? Well, it greatly depends on your map and strategy, but there's a good few to pick from, including 3 dart monkeys, a dart and a boomerang, a dart and attack, a dart and a sniper, a dart and a wizard, a ninja monkey, a dart and a druid, a dart and an engineer, on maps where water is allowed, a dart and a submarine, and finally, some heroes can be placed down as soon as the game begins. Out of all those, only a select few are reasonable starts, but I would recommend ones such as the triple dart monkey, ninja monkey, dart and druid, dart and engineer, an early hero placement, or my personal favourite, the dart and the sub start. Along with some of the upgrades that they offer, they can make it quite far with relative ease. To keep things simple today, we're going to pick the early game hero option, and we're going to place Quincy down. Let's move on to step number 3, the early game. Alright, we have our starting towers. Now what do we do from here? Good question. Let's start by establishing a clear goal for now. We want to beat the game. Okay, great. Let's establish another more reasonable goal. We want to be able to beat the mob on round 40. There's a ton of different ways to do this, but you always want to keep in mind your tower's weaknesses. A ninja is a great early game tower with the ability to solo camo balloons and large clumps of balloons easily. But it's got one glaring weakness, and that it cannot pop a lead balloon to save its life. So let's get a tower that gives the power to pop leads to our ninja so it can do its job. The answer is an alchemist, which has the added benefit of giving extra damage, range and pierce to our ninja. It's a match made in heaven. So let's implement that into the build. So we start with Quincy, we save up for a ninja, and we start upgrading it to double shot with seeking shurikens and caltrops mixed in. Before round 28, the first lead round, we buy up an alchemist and upgrade it to berserker brew. Then we continue on, buying up a balloon jutsu, the 4th tier ninja upgrade, before also upgrading our alchemist to stronger stimulant with perishing potions. Now we're ready for the Moab. We activate rapid shot and take down the Moab easily. Great! It's time to think a little bit bigger now as we move into step number 4, the mid game. Let's talk about our goals again. We beat the Moab, but now it's time to think a little bit bigger. Chimps is all about knowing when to save up for your expensive towers so you can beat the late game. Usually you'll afford a cheapish tier 5 upgrade on a tower, followed by either another cheap tier 5 into an expensive tier 5, or an expensive tier 4 into an expensive tier 5. We're going to go for the easier option of buying up a relatively cheap tier 5 to help us get to where we need to go. The Crossbow Master line is a fairly basic tier 5 that works well with straight lines, and everyone has some dart experience, so let's start there. We might need to get a little bit more support to get there first however, so we end up buying a village and getting the top path upgrades, larger radius and jungle drums on it to buff up Quincy and the squad. Now it's time to buy up our bottom path dart upgrades and save up for Crossbow Master. Remember, if things look a little bit dicey, don't forget that Quincy has buttons that you can press. They might not do anything, but pressing them may make you feel a little bit better. Now with the power of editing, we are here at the end of round 55, affording our Crossbow Master. This will be strong enough to afford us quite a few rounds of safety, especially going into round 63 and beyond. For now, we're going to enable our tier 5 to be as strong as it can be, so we're going to upgrade our village to primary mentoring. The next step from here is to get another huge spike in power, so we're going to use the tempo our crossbow master has provided us to save up another tier 5. We're going to need some massive Moab popping power in the late game, so while our crossbow master is a great all-round tower, it's not really going to cut the balloon mustard. I don't really even know where I'm going with this. So we're going to grab attack zone to shore all that up. We grab our attack shooter at a decent curve up front, upgrade it with the bottom path upgrades and the faster shooting cross path, and we're set. Except round 63 is looking a little bit scary, so we grab a Berserker Brew Alchemist on our crossbow master for added safety. This easily saves up to attack zone, and with the power of editing software, we're already there. Wow! Once again, we need to give it a little bit more power, so let's have a guess as to what tower we should use. It's Berserker Brew. It's always Berserker Brew. With 2 strong tier 5 towers, we clear the Zoo MG with ease and prepare ourselves for step number 5, the late game. So after we've gone through all that, it's time to get to the hard part. After round 80, ceramics turn into super ceramics, which for a lot of strategies spell disaster. For us here, it's not a problem at all. Yet, we have one last expensive purchase to make, so we're going to use our strong towers to go as far as we can. We've got a lot of different options here that you can choose from, such as Moab Eliminator, Permacharge, Super Brittle, Icicle Impale, Crippled Moab, Archmage, Spirit of the Forest, Sentry Champion, and personally, one of my favorites, the Permaspy. Also, you could upgrade your ninja to Grandmaster Ninja, but without a ton of shinobis here, it's not that great. Wouldn't recommend. It's a different strategy altogether. There's a lot you can buy. Something to keep in mind is that it doesn't even have to be a tier 5. It can be a lot of powerful tier 4 towers. However, while starting off, I recommend that you pick something strong and roll with it. For this run in particular, I chose Inferno Ring, because we're going to struggle with the Super Ceramics later on, and it's just a fun tower. To get there, we need to beat round 90, which is our first look at the DDTs. These are a whole different video in themselves, but for now, all we need to do is just handle them with what we've got. We purchase our Inferno Ring and cross-path our village to radar scanner to let everything see camo balloons like DDTs. Now we have all the damage we could need for the last few rounds, so we're going to end up using the rest of the money to end up acquiring some support towers. We've got a few good options for support towers like Moab Press, Cryo Cannon, Moab Glue, Main Moab, Downdraft, or Bloon Sabotage. DDTs still look to be a bit of a problem, so we grab a main mob with faster firing and some mob glue with bigger globs. Don't forget to put everything in the village range. Come the final few rounds, it's a test of how well rounded your build is. Round 98 tests your ability to deal with large amounts of grouped mobs. Round 99 tests your utility, either slowing down or stopping the fast DDTs in their track. Lastly, step number 6, win the game. Round 100 is a big old damage check. There's plenty of ways to deal that extra bit of damage if you need, so feel free to use whatever you please. Keeping in line with the build, I'd recommend a few Moab Assassins, some overdrives, or to just hit rapid fire and let the game play itself, because you're done here. Congratulations on your Chimps clear. Here's what the full run looks like. this guide worked for you, you can try it out, or even experiment with some different towers to see what else works here. If you're looking for another guide, check out my speedrunning chimp strategy here. As always, thank you so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, and all that yada yada, and I'll see you all next time.